Robert Edward Lee is one of the finest officers in the United States Army. His father was Revolutionary War hero Henry Lighthorse Harry Lee. Graduating second in his class at West Point Military Academy in 1829, Lee began his military career in the Corps of Engineers, where he remained for 17 years, and not once setting foot on the battlefield in that time. In 1831, Lee married Martha Anna Randolph Custis, a descendant of George Washington's adopted son John Parke Custis. When the Mexican-American War broke out in 1846, Lee served on General Winfield Scott's staff, distinguishing himself on the battlefield and earning 3 brevets for gallantry. Lee rose through the ranks, earning a promotion to colonel. After the war, Lee served as the superintendent of West Point between 1852 and 1855 and educated many of the men who would later serve under him and many who would fight against him in the Civil War. After Lee left his position at West Point, he would take up a position in the cavalry and was responsible for apprehending abolitionist John Brown in 1859. The Civil War would bring about many mixed feelings for him and his family. Many of his family chose to remain loyal to the Union, and some to the Confederacy. After the South fired on Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861, the secession of his home state of Virginia was inevitable. Seeing his favorable military reputation, President Abraham Lincoln offers Lee total command of the Union forces after calling for 75,000 volunteers to suppress the rebellion. Although Lee opposes secession, he turns down the offer after Virginia secedes on April 17th and resigns from the U.S. Army on April 20th and returns to accept a general's commission in the Confederate Army. His resignation letter reads as follows. General, since my interview with you on the 18th institution, I have felt that I ought not longer to retain any commission in the Army. I therefore tender my resignation, which I request you will recommend for acceptance. It would have been presented at once, but for the struggle it has cost me to separate myself from a service to which I have devoted all the best years of my life and all the ability I possessed. During the whole of that time, more than a quarter of a century, I have experienced nothing but kindness from my superiors and the most cordial friendships from any comrades. To no one, General, have I been as much indebted as to yourself for the kindness and consideration, and it has always been my ardent desire to merit your approbation. I shall carry with me to the grave the most grateful recollections of your kind consideration, and your name and fame will always be dear to me. Save in the defense of my native state shall I ever again draw my sword. Be pleased to accept any more wishes for the continuance of your happiness and prosperity, and believe me, most truly yours, R.E. Lee.